Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the March meeting for the Kent Planning Board. If we'd all stand for the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just a couple of things before we get started. Obviously, we're a couple of members short tonight, but our alternate, Kathy Doherty, is taking over, so we have enough people for a quorum. Just for the agenda that's been handed out, under the Ryder property, according to their engineering representative, is to be held off till next month. I just want we have a couple of minutes to approve. The January minutes for the January meeting. Has everybody read the minutes?
No.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes for January 9th of 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The minutes for last month, I was not present, so would somebody like to make a motion to accept those minutes?
I'll make a motion, we accept the meeting minutes for the February 13th.
And who wants the second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we can get going. Guy Lasaka.
Good evening, Paul Lynch from Putnam Engineering. This is a continuation of a public hearing. We believe we've answered all questions that have been brought to us, and we're here for if there's any public input.
Okay, we're going to make a motion to open the public hearing again for the 24 Soul Drive. Who'd like to make that motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody here for this property would like to speak? We close it? All right. Who would like to make a motion to close the said public hearing for 24 Saul Drive?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good evening. For the record, my name is John Andrews. I serve as engineer to the planning board. There are a couple administrative matters that we need to deal with here. Mr. Lynch is correct. They made a revised submission. There is a comment memo from myself dated February 26th. And essentially, the majority of my comments have been satisfactorily resolved. There are two open issues. One, they did provide a bond estimate of $9,419. We prepared our own estimate, a copy of which is attached, in the amount of $11,660. We would recommend that the amount of the bond of $11,666 be accepted by the planning board as the bond amount and recommended for approval to the planning board, or to the town board. Sorry.
You want to do that now?
You can do that now.
Okay. Who would like to make the motion to accept the bond, the erosion control plan bond estimate of $11,660?
I'll move.
Who seconds?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next matter is, Mr. Lynch had submitted a waiver request. If you remember, they reconstructed the driveway. The driveway has a very small section of 11%. And there was an administrative error that got sent to the wrong fire district. And we haven't heard back yet from the highway superintendent, but in speaking with the building inspector, neither the building inspector nor I have an issue with the driveway. It is appropriate in this particular case. So what we would recommend is that the board, by means of a simple oral resolution, grant a requested waiver to allow a driveway grade of up to 11%. That would need a motion, a second, and a roll call vote.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to to approve a waiver of up to and no greater than 11% for a driveway at 24 Saul Drive.
Second.
All in favor? Oh, sorry, we have to do a roll call?
Roll call.
Roll call.
I
Jean?
can grab it.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Simon Terry,
Aye.
Thomas Ferroni,
Aye.
Hugo German,
Aye.
Kathy Doherty,
Aye.
Jean Monet.
Aye.
Motion passes. Last item of business. Since this is substantially complete, there's a couple minor tweaks that need to be done. We would recommend that you consider moving this to administrative track to allow staff to complete the process, and Mr. Walters can finally close out his file on this project.
Anybody have any objections?
No. No.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to move this project to administrative track.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's all you can do tonight, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, sounds good. Okay. I guess you just flipping around. Ropoli. I'm guessing we're going to, I'd like to make a motion to reopen the public hearing for the property at Smalley's Corner.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Does everybody have any comments on the Ropoli property?
No.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to close the said public hearing.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This is essentially the same, ladies and gentlemen, as the prior application. Mr. Lynch has made a submittal. Most of our comments have been satisfactorily addressed. He prepared a bond estimate in the amount of $22,075. We prepared our own analysis of that bond estimate, and we find it to be appropriate for this project. We would therefore recommend that the planning board accept the bond amount in the amount of $22,075 and refer that board, the bond amount to the town board for their review and approval.
Okay, who would like to make the motion to accept the erosion control bond for $22,075 and send it to the town board for approval?
I'll move.
Who seconds?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Here again, Mr. Lynch submitted a driveway waiver. This one's a little more substantial. It's up to 15%, but he did submit a rather detailed rationale because he made a convincing case that the driveway is all rock. He could get it down to the required percentage, but it would mean taking out a lot of rock, and it would mean putting it kind of like at odds with the adjoining neighbor. It would kind of dip down, and it wouldn't look right. So what he's done is left it high, reduced the amount of rock to be removed, and added landscaping buffer along the steepest section between this property and the neighbor. I think there's 47 trees, I think, something on that order of magnitude to be planted. So here again, I think it's a question that both Mr. Walters and I explored, and it would be our recommendation that the board look favorably and grant the waiver of up to 15%. Here again, it would be a motion, a second, and a roll call vote.
Anybody have any comments? No. Okay, who would like to make the motion to accept the waiver for up to, and no, it does not go over 15% of the driveway in Smalley's Corner?
I'll make the motion.
Who seconds?
Second.
All in favor? Oh, sorry, roll call.
Roll call. Simon Terry,
Aye.
Thomas Ferroni,
Aye.
Hugo German,
Aye.
Kathy Doherty,
Aye.
Jean Monet.
Aye.
Okay, and then the last thing, here again, the application is substantively complete, there's a couple minor things, so we would make the recommendation that you move this to an administrative track to fine tune it and get it in final form so that it can be signed.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to move the said project to administrative track.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that is all you can do tonight, Mr. Lynch hit a home run.
Good. Beresford?
Good evening. Jason Snyder with Beatty and Watson, representing the applicant David Beresford. Would you like me to submit the mailings now? For the,
You'll take them?
so this is a public hearing?
We haven't opened it yet. But if you want to tell us
Okay.
briefly about it before we open the public hearing?
So what we have here is a proposed two-bedroom, single-family home on a .673 acre lot in the, on Kent Lake Ave in the town's R80 zoning district. Just to recap, we have a zoning variance from the zoning board for lot area, lot width, and lot frontage. We have approval from the Putnam County Department of Health for the septic system and well. We have since the last submission, we've incorporated a stormwater mitigation, stormwater practice, post-construction stormwater mitigation before discharge into the lake, which is something that Bruce wanted. Other than that, that's about it.
Okay. All right. Who'd like, oh, do you want to? Okay.
A couple of administrative matters, if I may.
Yep, that's fine.
Mr. Snyder has been provided with comments by Bruce and myself. As he indicated, he has responded to those and adjusted his plans accordingly. Unfortunately, we didn't get them till Monday afternoon. So what our recommendation would be is to open the public hearing, accept any public comment, and then adjourn the public comment till next meeting to allow Bruce and myself time to evaluate Mr. Snyder's submittal and adjust our comments accordingly.
Okay. Vera, when is the next meeting? Sorry. April 10th, thank you. Okay, who'd like to make a motion to open the public hearing for the property at Kent Lakes Avenue?
Do you have a comment, sir?
We're just about to open the public
And then
hearing,
you
so
speak.
you can speak then. We're about to open the public hearing.
And then you'd get up and speak.
So anybody want to make the motion to open the public hearing for the Kent Lakes Avenue project?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now, if you'd like to speak, you can come up and please state your name, and I think there should be somewhere you can write your name down as well.
Hi, my name's David Baviolo. I live at 51 next to the property. They were out there a couple weeks ago surveying this. Now, my marker, where they put their markers are a foot away from my markers. I don't know why that is, but they moved that lot to make it better. That's one thing. And the other thing is, this septic system is gonna empty into the lake, if you wanna call it a lake. It's a swamp full of lily pads. All that's in there is beavers and snapping turtles, and it's a mosquito infested thing. You can't even sit out there. Now this guy, they want to dump this water in there and make it even worse. That's it.
Okay. Do you have any response to this gentleman?
Oh, and the other thing is that DEP approved? Because that runs into a reservoir system. Does the DEP know about this?
Yes. I believe you have both Putnam County Health Department and DEP approval for this project?
It's the health department and the DEP have a joint review, so they review it together. And that's, you know, we do have the, one of the requirements of the approval from the, when the DEP was reviewing it, was they wanted a oversized septic tank, so we have a 1250 tank instead of 1,000, and we have a NIATIC wastewater treatment system. It's basically, after the septic tank, it's like an aeration tank that aerates the wastewater before it goes into the leaching fields. So there's a few forms of treatment for
That's the Fuji
the
system.
septic system for the wastewater.
Was that the Fuji system that you were doing on this one?
It's this is a NIATIC.
Niantic.
This was approved quite a while ago. We probably, Fuji is like an all-in-one.
Right, the three.
Yeah. This was pre-Fuji.
Okay.
So, I mean, to be honest with you, it's almost the same kind of thing. It's
But
just
the water
broken
is
up.
more pure than a regular
Exactly,
septic
yeah.
system.
It's
That's,
just-
I just wanted to explain to him that it
It's
was
the
more
same
pure.
idea as a Fuji. It's an aeration.
Right.
It utilizes aeration prior to.
Solid nitrate,
But the
so-
water would be more pure. And there's a couple of them in the town already, so, and they've shown that they work, so.
Oh, whose survey is right? Why?
Oh,
does that-
survey is a different issue. We're just discussing, when you said about the DEP, the gentleman forgot to mention the health department and DEP approved the septic system. Now, survey-wise, what could have happened is I'm a surveyor. So what could have happened is you have one surveyor and he is another.
Well, who's right?
No, but this is what happens. Then you will actually have to
If I
interview.
could, I don't mean to interrupt, but we are actually not the surveyor on this.
I know,
Okay.
but I'm saying, he's just saying there is a
Okay.
survey that was been done on the
Yeah.
property.
Mr. Chairman, I think what's going to have to happen is, which is standard custom and practice, Mr. Snyder's going to have to go back, they're going to have to talk to the land surveyor and provide a response in writing. If it comes down to it, it becomes a civil matter between adjoining property owners.
Yes, it's a
So
legal
we
issue.
have to rely on the documentation that's been provided to us. And if you have contrary documentation, we'd be willing to accept that for the file as well, sir.
Well, does the town have a survey on this? What's the
No.
town survey on
No.
it?
You have-
Most
wouldn't have
times,
a survey.
the town
How am I
will
gonna
hold
do
them.
it right?
If you have
Do
your
you-
own survey that
I
establishes.
do, I mean, my marker, there was three.
No, but do you have a
markers.
copy,
Do you have a
sorry,
copy-
do you have a
paper
copy of your survey?
I have it, something not with me, no.
Not with you, no.
Not with you. You
What-
don't
what
have
I'm
to have it with
suggesting
you.
is, if you have it, what I would do is get a copy of it made and submit it to Vera, and he will generate his response, and we'll take a look at it and see if there's anything the town can do, but typically speaking, they are civil matters between adjacent property
Oh,
owners
it's different
that don't
surveys and
involve
different
the
issues.
town.
I didn't see,
They're there, there was three of them, there's only one left for the poll.
typically the surveyor would show other pins from the other surveyor if they
Well-
were found.
I don't know, is the other survey markers
There's one by
there?
the street, there was two other ones that aren't there anymore. So I don't know if they pulled them up or not. But by the street.
But if you can get us a copy of-
One here that's painted red, I'm waiting for the third stake over here.
Just in reference to the map he has open there, where do you live?
Oh, it's right
No,
here.
yeah, is he to,
Over there.
okay, he's over there.
We are, it looks like we are actually showing,
My stake is this one. There's a red rebar here, there was a red rebar on this, on the ledge, and it was over there by the way, he's sort of gone, so everyone's there.
Is it,
By the street.
is it possible you could get a copy and send that in to us?
Yeah.
Or bring it in and drop it off to Vera, if you could?
Bring it, or send it.
Bring it to the
You can
planning
bring it
department,
into
bring it to
the planning
board
department.
secretary, Vera Patterson.
To-
You would bring it to the planning department and hand it to the planning board secretary, Vera Patterson?
Just to make a copy, do not give your original.
Yeah, not the original.
It can be next week.
Do not give your original and make sure it's legible. That's the only thing, please.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have any comments on this piece of property? Okay. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this public hearing to our next meeting, which will be April 10th.
I'll move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Azano? Did I pronounce that right? I hope.
I think it's misspelled on the,
Oh,
I think it's Zana.
oh, I see it on they say it's Azana, sorry.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, good evening. My name is Alvaro Larrain with A2L Engineering. We're here tonight for a site plan, steep slope, and erosion control permit for Mr. Asano's property. He's here with us tonight. This project proposes some earthwork in the rear of the property to essentially flatten the land and allow for a more usable backyard. We have provided plans that show what we're proposing to do. In essence, we're cutting the rear of the property and filling towards the front of the property to create this flat area. We're also proposing to reuse some of the rock that we need to remove as part of the earthwork to build these knee walls and a set of steps that would allow you to walk onto this flattened lawn area that we're proposing. The work is outside of any environmental buffer areas. It is within the east of Hudson watershed, so we do expect to secure a speedies permit for the project. We're not proposing any increase in impervious surfaces. We're not proposing any disturbance within the existing septic system either. We included some site development metrics on the plan to give you all a sense of the area of disturbance, amount of earthwork that we anticipate. The design is such that there is excess fill or surplus, so we don't anticipate bringing any sort of foreign or imported material onto the site. Rock removal, I know, is a concern for the nuisance that it represents. We estimated that this project will require about 65 cubic yards of rock removal. How long that takes, it really depends on a number of factors, and the hardness of the rock and equipment and the operator as well. But we think this rock can be removed and processed in a matter of 3 to 4 days, and that's a conservative estimate using mechanical methods.
How do you anticipate
Jackhammer
doing it?
on a
Jackhammer?
machine. Correct.
You're not doing any kind of blasting?
No, no blasting. Happy to answer any questions for the board.
Will you be maintaining the rock on site?
Yes, the intent is to reclaim that rock to build those knee walls that we're proposing.
Thank you.
I have to apologize to the board and the applicant. I didn't get my memo finished. I owe them a memo. But with Mr. Barber being unavailable, we had planned to go out there and take a look and just to be sure. But this is a new submittal. This is actually the first time you're seeing it. It is, it's one of the few that's as simple as the gentleman has explained. They're flattening their backyard, they're cutting a little bit, and they're filling a little bit, and everything's going to stay on site and be shaped and graded as may be required. There's about a 0.7 acres of disturbance, so he will need a speedies permit. He will also need the steep slope and erosion control permit from you folks. And I didn't identify any glaring deficiencies. There's just basically dotting i's and crossing t's. And I expect to get that memo out next week so that there should be no lapse in continuing with the review of this project.
Okay. Anybody any question?
No?
No.
Very good.
Unfortunately, there's nothing
No.
you can do tonight. The next two things that you'll be asked to do is determine whether or not you need a public hearing. I think Bruce and I were of the opinion this is one of those ones where you may want to consider a waiver, but it's a little premature, and then ultimately there will be a need for a bond. But since most of it's on site in this gentleman's backyard, we don't expect a major number there. So, but that will be, we'll try to get that covered in our memos.
Okay.
Nothing else you can do this evening.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Good evening, thank you.
Okay, next up is Rocky Ridge.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Jamie LaJudas from Inside Engineering, Surveying and Landscape Architecture. We're here for an extension of the approval for Rockies Ridge on North Horse Pound Road. This is for the site plan, steep slope, stormwater management, and wetlands permit. So we're asking for two 90-day extensions on that approval. And then also for the special use permit, we're asking for a renewal of that same timeframe. The reason being is that they're currently in construction. They've ceased site work because of winter shutdown, and looking to restart in the spring and hoping to be completed toward the end of this year.
Okay.
Okay, you should have a resolution in front of you. It is labeled draft number 2. And it does two things. It's a resolution of time extension for the site plan approval, steep slope and erosion control permit, and wetland permit, and an extension of the special use permit approval. If you remember, there's a slight anomaly in your code, which the special use permit is only valid for a year, but it only starts when you issue the CO, and yet you have 2 years to build a building, so it's kind of like one of these catch-22s. And Bruce and I wrestled with this one. You had previously granted an extension, but the way this approval is conditioned, you have a year to get everything signed, but you have 2 years to get it built. So they got everything signed within their 1 year window, and they were on target to get it completed in the 2 years, but because of the fact that we finally had a winter in the Northeast, there wasn't much they could do to complete this during the winter, so they kind of pushed it off till spring, thus requiring the approval. So you have basically a straightforward approval with you. The request was filed in a timely fashion, so I would just read the now therefore be it resolved clauses for your consideration. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Kent Planning Board extends the time for completion of construction for the conditional site plan approval, steep slope and erosion control permit, and wetland permit for 2 additional 90-day periods commencing on actually May 11th, 2025, which will expire on November 7th, 2025.
I do have one question. Didn't we have a stipulation between the 290 days for them to come back?
We do,
not.
that's usually on a signing process. Again, we've got a building that's up.
So
And
we'll-
they have a
okay.
valid building permit. The building is up. The only thing that isn't done is the site work. And the major site work was getting the septic system, but wasn't going to be able to get it in because he didn't have a chance to start it until late November.
Well, I just want to make sure that,
Yeah, we debated that and felt it wasn't necessary in
Okay.
this case. And then be it further resolved, the Kent Planning Board renews and extends the special permit for the same period of time to allow for obtaining a certificate of occupancy for the current ongoing construction. And be it further resolved that the waivers, terms, and conditions of the approval dated May 11th, 2023 are incorporated herein by reference and remain in full force and effect unless modified herein. We would need a motion, a second, and then a roll call.
so I'll just make a motion and then read what you just read.
Okay, yes.
All right, I'd like to make a motion, who'd like to make a motion to accept the to 90 days extension, now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Kent Planning Board extends the time for the completion of the construction of the conditional site plan approval, steep slope and erosion control permit, wetlands permit for 2 additional 90-day periods commencing on May 11th, 2025, and which will expire on November 7th, 2025. And be it further that the Town of Kent Planning Board renews the extent of the special permit for the same time period to allow the obtaining a certificate of occupancy for the current ongoing construction. And be it further resolved that the waivers, terms and conditions of the approval dated May 11th, 2023 are incorporated herein by reference and remain in full force and effect unless modified herein.
I'll move.
I'll second.
And we have a roll call on that?
Yes, sir. Second was Kathy Doherty.
Yes.
Thank you. Simon Carey,
Yes.
Tom Ferrone,
Aye.
Hugo German,
Aye.
Jackie Bashar is absent. Giancarlo Catucci is absent.
Absent.
Rich Marini is absent. Jean Monet,
Aye.
and Kathy Doherty as acting member.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Maniatis property? I don't know if I said that right. Well, thanks to Tom.
Good evening again. Jamie Legius from Inside Engineering, Surveying and Landscape Architecture. So before you tonight is the Maniatis residence for a existing gate relocation. They have, this is at 250 East Boyd's Road. They, if you recall, the main house was constructed and completed a couple of years ago, and now they are in the midst of looking to relocate their existing gate. It's very minimal in disturbance, taking down 2 posts, redoing a little bit of wiring to the existing utility pole there, and new posts. It's in a slightly different location.
You should have a comment email from me. Basically, this is a wetland permit action. Unfortunately, the way where the gate falls, it's within the 100-foot buffer for wetlands that extend up into the property. The action involves, as Jamie specified, a simple relocation of existing gate and the utility installation necessary to support the relocation. The only reason there's a steep slope element to it at all is that it requires a wetland permit. And then with the scope of a wetland permit, because it needs a wetland permit, you need a steep slope and erosion control. The actual scope of work and the disturbance is well below the thresholds. It's about 165 square feet of disturbance. So the project thresholds are considered de minimis from my standpoint. Unfortunately, we have to defer to Bruce, and he was going to try to get a memo, but I don't think he did. We recommend the planning board approve the steep slope and erosion control permit subject to the following condition when it's appropriate to do so, that a note be placed on the plan requiring that all disturbed areas be topsoiled, seeded, and mulched with a specified seed mixture. All disturbed areas should be graded to properly drain and to match adjacent undisturbed areas. We further recommend that the planning board find that the proposed activity to be of a minor nature, which would not significantly alter, affect, or endanger steep slopes, or result in an uncontrolled and excessive erosion, and as a consequence, waive the public hearing. And given the minor nature of the activity and the de minimis disturbance related to thereto, we further recommend the planning board waive the requirement for a performance bond in this matter. It would take more time to come up with the amount than the amount would be. I did review my comments with Bruce. He was acceptable. He was generally in favor of them. The only issue is he needs to weigh in on what may be required for the wetland. But other than that, I wouldn't do anything. I would hold my comments in abeyance until you hear from Bruce.
Okay.
My apologies.
Still have some.
Good evening, Bill Walters, Building Inspector, Town of Kent. I think this project is, I'm glad it's getting close to being finished. Made one comment in an email that went out today about this project, is that this gated driveway needs to have a Knox box key access so that the Kent Fire Department can gain access to the property. Thank you.
I thought that was on the
Yeah,
plan.
I think it's on-
I think it's already on the drawing.
I don't know if it was added to the plans, I just want to make sure.
This is proposed gate with Knox box.
Okay, thank you.
So we'll wait for Bruce's comments.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, moving along, we're going to Moody property.
Good evening, Joseph Arena, the Principal Site Design Consultants, representing the Moody's at 221 Rescue. We are in for a steep slope and erosion control permit. In the interim, based on the discussion we had the last time and at the work session, we're looking to do a Phase 1 tree removal in the area of the driveway and the house pad and somewhat area around that, so that they can at least get the trees down before the end of this month. So we're asking for a waiver from the board to allow us to do that. We just received John's comments, and it's basically putting notes on the plan, which we have no issue on getting those on there. And we can get them on there tomorrow and get the revised tree cutting plan over to John tomorrow.
So good evening. Just to reiterate what Joe has said, this is under review for an erosion and sediment control plan. For a variety of reasons, they're on for next month for having a review. They did respond to our comments and Bruce's comments, but somehow they slipped through the cracks, but they will be on next month with comments. In the meantime, they did make a significant request to be allowed to cut the trees. As you all know, the tree cutting window ends on March 31st of the year, and they can't do anything between March 31st and November. In that regard, Bruce and I did take a serious look at it. They did submit a plan. And based on the definition of disturbance, what we concluded is that cutting trees by hand with limited access is not, for the purposes of this action, considered disturbance. And therefore, no other form of disturbance as set forth in the definition is permitted or authorized. As Joe indicated, we asked for a series of notes to be placed on the drawing, and these notes basically serve to define the project. The purpose of the plan is for tree cutting only. No other vegetation is to be cleared or removed. No land disturbance or land preparation activities are authorized. All land disturbance shall be kept to a minimum necessary to cut the trees. Land disturbance of any type shall be maintained under 5,000 square feet in total, with no more than 2,000 square feet on any of the steep slopes. Now, some of the trees are in steep slopes, but let's face it, they're going to have a guy with a chainsaw cutting a tree. They're not bringing a machine in, they're not stuffing up the earth, they're just dropping trees. All tree cutting shall be done in strict accordance with the approved plan. All tree cutting must be completed by March 31. The project sponsor may cut and leave in place all trees depicted on the plan. The tops of trees may be chipped on site and spread where they fall. No stockpiling of mulch is permitted. No stumping may occur. All remaining stumps are to be untouched and will be cut to grade. All remaining tree trunks shall remain where they fall. The project sponsor shall employ erosion and sediment control measures as necessary to control site runoff and prevent the tracking of material onto the adjacent road network. All disturbed areas shall be seeded and mulched once all the tracks or ruts have been repaired, not that we expect too many. And prior to the start of any work, a pre-construction conference will need to be held, needs to involve Mr. Walters, myself, and Bruce. Don't think Bruce will be available, but we'll try to get that coordinated for the near future. I think the applicant would consider next week. And then we recommend a bond amount, a relatively small bond amount of $2,500 be established and accepted. I've got to get the form approved by the planning board attorney. I'll jump on that as soon as, if you're agreeable to that. And so other than that, what we did is we prepared a simple resolution. And basically what this resolution effectively does is it allows the applicant to proceed at his own risk. In other words, he's not getting any approvals, he's not getting anything. You're allowing him to do it, so long as he understands it. It's at his own risk, and that there's no guarantees that he'll get what he wants at the end of the day, but obviously it advances his project. So what I will do is I will read the now therefore be it resolved clauses. And it says, now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Kent Planning Board accepts the Phase 1 tree cutting plan and permits the project sponsor to proceed with and complete the work at his sole cost and expense and at his own risk, subject to strict compliance with the plan as submitted. Be it further resolved that the permission is limited to the work requested and depicted on the plan, and that there are no assurances, warranties, or representations to the project sponsor concerning the future development of the property, the outcome of any review by the planning board of the project, or any other approvals that may be required from any agency, board, or department of the town. And be it further resolved that the project sponsor shall post with the town a bond suitable in form and content to the planning board attorney in the amount of $2,500 to be used by the town to secure the site in the event the project does not proceed and the requested permit is not obtained. It needs a motion, a second, and then a roll call vote, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, who would like to make the motion to accept the resolution as stated for the Mooney residents at 221 Rescue Street? Sorry
I'll make
about
the
that.
motion.
Who would like to make second?
Second.
And all in favor? Aye.
I'll go through a roll call.
Oh, sorry.
Simon Carey,
Aye.
Tom Ferroni,
Aye.
Hugo German,
Aye.
Kathy Bashar is absent. Giancarlo Cattucci is absent. Richard Morini is absent. Jean Monet,
Aye.
and Kathy Doherty as member.
Aye.
Motion carries. You are free to go. We'll be in touch about the meeting, and I'll try to get you the form of that bond as quick as I can.
Okay. Apologize if I don't say this right. Zakon? Zakon, sorry.
Good evening, Chair and members of the board. Rick Bolander, the site civil engineer on the Zakon project. Obviously here tonight with Joe. Here tonight seeking a tree removal permit and also just to update the board on the changes to the plan since we were here last month. The location of the house has changed since we last presented. This was the former location of the proposed house. Now we're showing it here, just to limit the amount of disturbance. We situated the house in an area that was essentially under its former condition before the lots were set up for, what was it, a tax foreclosure? And then they were merged. There were two former houses on the site, so we kind of set the house in that location and tried to follow the existing driveway as best we could, but also keeping in mind the 10% max in the driveway. So we had to loop it out a bit and situate the garage so the cars are coming in here. We have, on the original submission, we received comments from Mr. Andrews. We tried to address as much as we could with these updated plans. There's still some work to do. We still need to go out there and do the soil assessing for the stormwater, so I didn't want to finalize the stormwater design until we had that done. We've submitted the updated plans to the health department. And that's really it for the updates and the status update.
So this is essentially a mirror image of the project that just went before it, Moody. Our comment memo essentially contains the same information. They did submit a tree cutting plan, and it just needs to have some notes and other things added to it. Same notes, same everything. In this case, though, what he had done is he left the limits of disturbance on the drawing, on that tree cutting plan. We just asked that they come off because we're not disturbing that, we're just cutting trees and dropping them. And again, it's the same resolution, same net result. You're allowing him to proceed at his own risk with tree cutting, and it will be subject to a $2,500 bond. Again, it would be a motion, a second, and a roll call, sir.
Okay. Who would like to make the motion to accept the resolution for property at 592 Luddingtonville Road?
I'll make the motion.
And accept the bond?
I'll make the motion.
Who's second it?
Second.
All in, oh, sorry, roll call.
Simon Carey.
Aye.
Tom Ferrone.
Aye.
Hugo German.
Aye.
Jackie Bashar is absent. Giancarlo Cattucci is absent. Rich Marini is absent. Jean Monet.
Aye.
And Kathy Doherty as member.
Aye.
Motion carries. We'll get your paperwork as quickly as we can. The only other thing I would suggest is that they be on the April agenda, because Bruce and I will have updated comments based on the submittal. It kind of got, if you remember the discussion at the workshop, it was kind of in limbo. We now have it, but there are issues, and we'll get those comments out to them as quickly as we can.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
All right, good night.
Good night.
I think we're below the line, I guess.
Below the line, sir.
Wow.
We'll wait till they, I guess. Sorry, before we go below the line, have you any questions or?
I was here for Alper. 24th Court.
Oh, it's below the line, so yeah.
Alper was moved to administrative track last meeting, which means you don't have to come to the planning board anymore. You do have to satisfy any open comments and submit them, and then we'll do this in the hands of staff now.
Okay, that's good.
And I'm sorry, because the agenda got revised at the last minute, so.
Okay.
Jump below the line.
Yes.
Morrow Equipment, they have their resolution, they had their marching orders. I suspect they're marching toward progress. I haven't heard. Alper, the gentleman was just here, that got moved to administrative track. He just has to satisfy the open comments of myself and Bruce, and we can move that ahead. Homeland Towers,
They had another problem with the wind.
yeah, I think and I'm not sure when I didn't,
They were talking about this weekend, but I saw nothing.
I haven't seen anything. Cohen, we're waiting for a submittal. Lakeside Conference Center, we're waiting for a submittal. Chunyang Yen, that Mr. Walters is taken care of. Holly Property, it's on them. Route 52, Development, Kent Country Square, we're waiting for submissions from them. Metric Motors, my understanding, based on the last discussions, is that we're going to return this to Mr. Walters to be further pursued at his level. And at his request, that will be done in the form of a letter from the planning board to him, requesting that he pursue this matter in whatever manner he sees fit. Nichols Road, we're waiting for them. Torres, we're waiting for them. And TJ Contracting, we're waiting for them. But other than that, I think we're in pretty good shape, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Any more comments, anybody? Okay, if not, I'd like to make a motion to close the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.